So hi, my name is Dan and I lead the partner business here at Acrolinx. As a company that specializes in helping enterprises deliver impactful content, we understand that your content doesn't just write itself, at least not yet, and organizations must understand and actively manage the content creation process, as well as assess how well the final message resonates with your audience. Given that partnering is core to what we do, we're constantly evaluating our customer ecosystems, looking for companies that enhance the value that they get from their content through powerful business combinations. In this webinar, we would like to introduce you to Precision Content, a consulting partner of ours in North America, whose services cover the design and implementation of scalable and sustainable authoring and publishing solutions. They've helped many of our customers improve the value of their content. So Rob, it's a pleasure to be hosting you here today. Can you tell our audience a little bit about your role and the vision behind Precision Content?
Sure, thank you, yes. I founded Precision Content in 2013 with a view to help organizations transition more successfully to structured authoring. I've been a technical writer for 3 decades now, and always been interested in the mechanics of content. So getting very early on into content management, structured authoring, I honed my skills as an information architect. And so, mid-career, I had the opportunity to work with a lot of large Fortune 100 companies as they were making their first foray into data. And I found that I was surprised at how few were succeeding with this transition and trying to figure out what is it about structured authoring and moving into something like data that makes it difficult for organizations to adopt, and realized ultimately that it's the content, it's the writing. People didn't know how to write for it, right? So I realized if I wanted to help companies be successful, I had to not only look at the technology, but look at the content itself. And I figured this was a pretty good niche space because while there are others, of course, in our industry that talk about the importance of content, we really focus on it. It's right in our name, Precision Content. So.
Perfect. Thanks so much, Rob. So, of course, content challenges can come in all sorts of different shapes and sizes. But if you had to pick a couple of sort of knotty or thorny issues that you seek to address on a regular basis for your clients, what would they be?
Well, I think the first one is consistency, right? And getting your writing team writing to a consistent standard. A lot of organizations look to leverage content reuse, but they can't reuse content because it's just not appropriate. It's not written consistently enough that it can be reused seamlessly, right? So without governance and sort of content standards, reuse doesn't work as well as it should. And then so, with our approach when we come into writing it, we realize when we start to pull information apart, tease it apart, we identify sometimes significant gaps in information. So, looking at when we write content poorly, we can easily miss details. And they can go on and on and on for editions and for releases and versions, and never realizing that this information is missing until we pull it apart. And then that's where the work starts, trying to fill in these massive holes within people's content.
Fantastic. Okay. So you've described some of these holes that you look to address with your team's sort of skills. What would you describe as the Precision Content special sauce, the secret sauce behind your success?
Well, absolutely. And that is our Precision Content writing methodology. So part of my journey in trying to figure out how to write better for content was building a new model for the enterprise, going beyond the more simplistic data model of concept, task, and reference to something that was more fully featured for the enterprise. And so I looked at a lot of different models and a lot of different methodologies and came upon information mapping in the early aughts, and became an information mapping certified consultant. And I joined forces with the Canadian distributor of information mapping. And, so we worked with that for a while, and with DITA, realizing that these things two really work well together. But eventually, we took DITA and we took information mapping and we made it our own, and we modernized and we adapted it so that the two would work much more seamlessly together. And so that's how our writing methodology was born. So it really borrowing a lot of the concepts from information mapping on information typing and all the various rules around that to help us to be able to deconstruct and reconstruct content using this methodology.
So, Rob, you just described your special sauce, your writing methodology, and of course, you're here as an Acrolinx partner, and you use Acrolinx as part of your offer. Can you talk to us a little bit about the sort of value that your customers get from the Acrolinx platform?
Right, of course. And so having us come in and transform an organization's content, even going in and training and certifying their writers on the methodology, is that it's a very significant investment for an organization. And so finding a technology that can help our customers be more successful with the writing methodology, Acrolinx is a key part of that, right? So providing in editor support to help support them as they move to this new writing methodology. We've done a lot of work within Acrolinx to set up our own targets and the like with that take into account our methodology. And so it's really been a key plank in the technology on the tool side to really help to extend the methodology and make it more sticky within organizations.
Perfect. Well, what I can say from an Acrolinx perspective is the customers of ours that are using your methodology, your skills in combination with the platform, they get to value far quicker, and they get far more out of the platform as well. So we appreciate that. So, you've described, Rob, some of the challenges, and you've talked about your special sauce. You've got a variety of market offerings. Can you just describe some of the ways that you are building value for customers?
Sure. So when we first started deploying Acrolinx, I think we deployed it in a fairly typical fashion with a precision content flavor. All right, we're coming in with our targets for precision content, some of the language rules and such. But it was very much a sort of typical Acrolinx deployment, as typical goes. But what we started doing more recently, and I'm very, very excited about, is using Acrolinx to come in and help to evaluate, do content analysis within an organization, benchmark their content against other competing organizations to see just how their content stacks up. Big part of transformation, as you can imagine, coming in and rewriting a company's content like we are at NCCI, for example, is a huge investment, right? So we need to be able to very early on get out there with ROI before we get too invested in doing the actual transformation. So using Acrolinx, going through our full content analysis on their content early on really helps to cement that buy-in and helps to really move our projects forward where we didn't have these types of tools before. So it's a brilliant new use case for us using Acrolinx with even in pre-sales types of situations, but getting in early and helping improve the value of transformation.
I think one of the things that we appreciate about the approach that you take is that for some organizations, they know they have a problem. Mm-hmm. They have a vision of where they're going, but the leap looks just too great. They kind of want to understand how do they break this down into kind of smaller steps, smaller kind of ways of releasing value for the organization. So the ability to do that analysis, I think, is very, very important.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, Rob, with that in mind, can you talk us through a recent joint project that you're very proud of?
Sure, absolutely. I can certainly talk about the National Council on Compensation Insurance in the U.S. We've done a number of presentations sort of really showcasing the work that we've done there. We're in year 5 now, and we brought in Acrolinx very, very early on. And it's helped our team and theirs to transform their manuals and really create new information products that are helping insurance companies across the United States administer compensation insurance.
Brilliant, thank you so much. Now, of course, we have the artificially generated elephant in the room to talk about, don't we? So how have your customers' needs and expectations sort of changed over the last sort of couple of years?
Wow. Well, that's a funny question because, when we first started the company, one of the catchphrases we came up with was, stop looking to technology to solve your content problems, right? So, we would go to conventions, we go to trade shows, and people come up to our booth and ask about our tool, right? Yeah. They want to buy a tool that's going to fix their content, make it more precise. So the tool's up here, right? We can train you how to do that, but it's not a technology per se. Now, of course, seeing generative AI come out of the gate earlier this year, quite possibly, we're going to see more and more technology having a real play in the content supply chain, and it will help to solve problems that companies have faced since the beginning of technical communication. Yeah. So, yeah.
So I think what's interesting is what you've alluded to there, Rob, is that whilst generative AI, it's new and shiny, it relates to problems that have been there for some time. And, I think certainly the Acrolinx viewpoint is this is kind of an extension of the automation conversations that we've been having with customers for some time. How can you reduce the time and effort required for manual content creation and management and focus on other things that are more sort of strategic? One thing we would say now is that now more than ever, it's going to require effective content governance. Of course, there's always going to be that role for human intervention, governance, and support for that process. And to give our audience an idea of where we're going, we put together a short video outlining our solution direction. So we'll add that in now.
Acrolinx is revolutionizing the way enterprises create and govern content with generative AI. Gone are the days of staring at a blank page waiting to be inspired. Now with Acrolinx, nothing can stop you from creating awesome content that continues to drive value. How does it work? It's easy. With a handful of predefined content templates, all you need to do is ask. Acrolinx, create a 2-paragraph prospecting email with our 3 best capabilities for marketers that is likely to drive a reply. Boom, done. Acrolinx, create a 3-paragraph landing page that describes the benefits of content governance that offers an ebook and is optimized for conversion. Boom, done. Acrolinx, create a chicken carbonara recipe for enterprise software engineers. All right, that one was a little, it actually did it. Now, creating new content is great, but what about improving existing content? Acrolinx makes it easy to identify low-quality content and quickly improve it without missing a beat. Acrolinx scans your content and provides enterprise-approved guidance to writers to ensure that their content is aligned with your brand, clear, inclusive, and compliant. And with our new generative AI capabilities, you can improve your content with a click. Now, that's cool, but what if I told you Acrolinx also has the ability to create a profile of your best-performing content? Yeah, seriously. Acrolinx is the only platform that can identify your best-performing content, compare it to your enterprise quality standards, and use that best-performing content to help your writers create even better content right out of the gate. Mind blown, right? With Acrolinx, you can model content after your best performing pieces. Then check your content for clarity, tone of voice, inclusivity, and compliance issues. Acrolinx is giving your enterprise the power of generative AI with the safety and efficiency of content governance and enterprise authoring assistance. You can have the best of both worlds with Acrolinx.
So, Rob, as we start to wrap up our discussion, if content creation departments can only do 3 things in the next 12 months, what would you suggest they do?
Wow. Well, I think the first thing is to get a grip on content governance and information governance within your organization, realizing that some sort of content standard is important, right? And how we get there. Look at what's needed to move towards more intent-based writing for technical communication departments. Looking at how we can chunk our content better. Look for ways to improve that content, regardless of whether or not you're in a content management system, you're in data, if you're in Word, whatever it is. And but look to your content. Look to get better control over the process around how your content's created, how it's governed, the language that you use. That's going to be critical to moving to the next stage.
Well, this brings our webinar to an end. If you'd like to know more or would like some more information, please see the links on screen now. Many thanks, Rob, for your insights. Much appreciated. And as for all of our listeners, we look forward to helping you on your content journey. Bye for now.